Hello engineers, good afternoon. Yan, so please confirm naman if I'm clear yung audio sa inyo. So today, start ng refresher natin and then ang setup po natin for refresher is quiz type and then after your quiz, i-discuss yung mga problems. So yung mga problems po na ipo-provide namin are majority mga past exams. So ayun, mas maganda na from the pre-board questions hanggang refresher questions natin. Kailangan ma-practice nyo, okay, repeatedly. So yung last batch nung September, no? So yung refresher questions sa pre-boards, medyo madami rin daw lumabas. So pero hindi siya magiging basis natin, no? Na yun lang aaralin kasi depende yun sa set na matatapat sa inyo. Okay? So for Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, so madaming sets na naka-prepare. Kaya mas okay, mas marami tayong practice na questions. Okay? So pwede nyo rin balikan yung mga binigay kong lectures or yung mga reviewers before, yung mga questions para mas mas prepared tayo sa exam. Okay? So nag-check din ako ng ng result ng pre-board. So maganda naman yung trend ng scores. So pataas naman lahat. So pwede niyo ulit-ulitin 'yon. So iba napapansin ko lagpas 200 na yung score. So 210 questions ata 'yon. So ayun lang, ulit-ulitin niyo lang yung mga ibang questions kasi yung mga questions naman doon, meron siyang reference if babalikan niyo sa Blue Book and then with that reference, kailangan medyo tayo, no, kung saan kinuha yung reference, aralin natin kung saang part siya ng Blue Book or sa lecture natin. Okay? So kung very specific naman, so pwede rin naman natin basa-basahin. But kung mas maraming details yung reference, kunyari naka-tabulate, so mas okay, familiar tayo sa table na yun or yung reference. Okay? So if may questions kayo sa pre-board, sa refresher questions natin, actually mga questions galing din yung iba sa mga previous takers. So may times na after ng exam nila, so sasabihin nila sa amin kung ano yung mga lumabas, ganyan. So ayun, yung iba not exactly yung words, hindi sakto. Pero yung mga choices naman, ano nila, naalala nila. So right after exam, sinasabihan nila kami. Okay? Then na-prove din namin last time na hindi talaga pare-parehas yung exam. So yung mga sets, iba-iba rin ang questions. Parang last September, may naunang area, parang sa Mindanao area ata nauna sila. Tapos late yung Luzon. Tapos pagkat nung kinompare yung questions, so iba-iba ang lumabas. Okay, iba-iba din per room. Okay? May ilan din pala na na nagkakaparehas. Pero I think meron silang problem bank or database ng question tapos namimili na lang sila ng kukuning questions doon. Ayun, okay. So I hope lahat kayo nakapag-take na ng refresher quiz, no, para at least tayo, in line tayo sa dinidiscuss, no, and para ma-assess kung tama yung solution or understanding niyo sa questions. Okay, so I think we can start naman na, no. Yan, so problem number 1, dito tayo muna sa computation. So for computation number 1, saturated silty clay encountered in deep excavation. So halos same lang to nung diniscuss ko before. So iniba ko lang yung value just for practice. Okay? So it's found to have a water content of 27%. So determine the unit weight of clay in kilonewtons per cubic meters, assuming that the specific gravity is 2.5. Okay? So yung practice natin dito is not just a problem but yung mga formulas kailangan familiar tayo. Okay? So hindi naman complicated yung computation sa actual exam. So madalas lang siya, direct substitution. As long as memorize mo yung formula or kaya mong mag-derive based sa basic knowledge natin sa soil mechanics. Yan. So for this one, yan, again, sa mga problems sa soil, as long as binanggit naman yung word na saturated, so we assume na yung S value natin or degree of saturation is 100% or 1. So therefore, using our formula, 1 times E, the voids ratio is equals to specific gravity times the water content. Okay, and then yung voids ratio natin na makuha dapat 0.675. Okay, so pwede nyo i-double check using your calculators. Then yung calculators nating class, no, dapat siya, same sa approved PRC guidelines and set of calculators na approved ng PRC. Okay, so hindi pwede yung wala sa PRC guidelines. So kung ano yung allowed sa ME, same lang siya sa CE. Okay. So after getting the voids ratio 0.6775, so compute for the unit weight of clay. So we have the values naman, so direct substitution. So 1 plus 0.27 multiplied by specific gravity times 9.81 unit weight of water over 1 plus the voids ratio. Okay, so practice rin kayo mag-calculate, no? Kasi ayun nga, may time tayong kina-consider during exam. Then yung shading part, so sabi rin ng mga previous takers, mas mahirap pa daw mag-shade kasi sobrang laki ng bilog, so medyo time consuming siya. Okay? So pwede naman kayo maglagay ng note if ever na meron kayong mga hindi sure para mabalikan nyo. Pero ayun, kung masasagad nyo yung time, I think medyo bilisan natin during shading. Kasi medyo mahirap, medyo malaki daw yung kailangan i-shade. So walang standard na wala silang standard na answer sheet. So nagkataon yung last exam, saka yung mga, I think siguro, Luzon area. So sa Mindanao area naman wala kaming balitaan. So sa Luzon takers, ayun doon, laki ng answer sheet nila. Okay? So practice na lang siguro yung kailangan medyo mabilis tayo sa competitions and siguro yung shading, pwede nyo naman i-share practice. Meron naman available online sa mga shading answer sheets. So di lang namin ma-provide yung actual answer sheet, no, kasi medyo confidential sa part nila yun, DPWH, BRS. Okay? So I hope same tayo. Answer is 18.6 kilonewtons per cubic meters. This is letter C. Yan. So dapat na to sa inyo, no, pag computation part medyo pamigay na sa atin. So dapat memorize lang natin yung formulas. Kailangan. Okay? Kasi mga terminologies na tayo medyo mahihirapan kasi sobrang dami ng terminologies ng ME. So baka magkarambol-rambol na. Okay, pero sa mga computation, make sure natin na tayo dito. Sure tayo. Okay, so next problem, computation ulit number 2. So a soil sample has a bulk unit weight of 18.6 kilonewtons per cubic meters at a water content of 12%, assuming the specific gravity is 2.65. So determine the percentage air in the voids. Okay, so next slide. So compute for the given natin unit weight. Meron tayong specific gravity and water content. So compute for the voids ratio, since yun lang yung missing sa ating formula. Yan, so 18.6, again bulk unit weight, equals to 1 plus given yung water content natin, 12%, multiplied by 2.65 times unit weight of water over 1 plus voids ratio. So voids ratio, so paki-double check if same tayo ng value. So yung voids ratio natin must be 0.5654. And then after getting the voids ratio, use the formula to get the value of degree of saturation, S. So S multiplied by voids ratio equals to 2.65 multiplied by 0.12. So degree of saturation ang makuha natin dito. So hindi pa siya yung percentage air in the voids. So the degree of saturation must be 56.24%. So this is only the percentage of saturation. So to get the percentage of air, simply get the difference of the total 100% minus 56.24. So the percentage of air in the voids must be 43.76%. Okay, so wala pa namang question so far. Yeah, so number 2 is letter D, 43.8%. The next number 3, so a 50 cubic centimeters of moist clay was obtained by pressing a sharpened hollow cylinder into the wall of a test pit. So the extruded sample had an initial weight of 70 grams. After oven drying, it weighs 60 grams. So we have initial and final weight of the sample, 70 and 60. So if the specific gravity is 2.72, so determine the degree of saturation of the sample. Okay, first get the moist unit weight. So value is 70, given yung initial weight natin, divided by volume. Volume is 50, so answer is 1.4 grams per cubic centimeters. So after getting this, get the value of the moisture content, wherein we have the initial weight of 70 minus weight after oven drying, 60. So 70 minus 60, weight of water yung makuha natin dyan, divided by weight of solids, or yung ano natin, sample after oven drying. So 10 over 60 is equals to 0.167. So meron na tayong moisture content. Next, compute for the degree of saturation. And then meron pa tayong voids ratio. So voids ratio muna. So given the moist unit weight, so we have moisture content. So 1 plus moisture content multiplied by specific gravity times unit weight of water in grams per cubic centimeters. So this is 1 over 1 plus voids ratio. So paki-check na rin if same tayo yung voids ratio, 1.267. Okay, on my part naman, same lang din. Tama naman yung computation. So get the value of S, degree of saturation. So meron naman na tayong voids ratio, moisture content, and specific gravity. So value of the degree of saturation is equals to 0.3585 or equivalent to 35.85%. Okay. Okay naman tayo sa computation part, no? So this is letter D. Ayan. So nung nag-check naman ako ng results nyo, no, sa computation part, so iilan na lang ang medyo nagkakamali pa, no? But then again, i-try nyo lang lagi yung mga quizzes na binigay namin or yung pre-board for practice. Okay? So kahit siguro sa day na examination, hindi ko pa i-close yun. So baka may gusto pa mag-scroll sa inyo. And then i-update ko rin yung yung pre-board questions, no? If ever man na meron akong makuhang mas fresh na exam before. Kasi hindi naman kasi yun kumbaga yung mga nagpi-picture before ng mga students or yung mga reviews before na nagpi-picture after exam. So bawal yan. So kami naman ang tinatanggap na namin siguro yung mga verbally or nag-send lang sila ng mga ng mga natandaan lang nila. Okay? So di naman namin i-encourage na mag-picture ng mismong examination sheet after exam. So kawawa din pag nahuli, no. So okay lang yan kahit kung ano yung maalala nila. But then may iba na nakakalusot. So if ever man na meron akong mga information from others na makuha. So i-update ko lang yung yung pre-board questions. So kaya 210 yun dapat lang siya 150. So nag-add ako ng mga questions, i-update ko siya. Okay? So pre-board questions saka yung refresher, i-practice nyo guys. Ita-try ko hanggang next month maging 300 plus questions yan. So para mas marami kayong ma-practice. Okay? So proceed tayo number 4. So quality of factory produced reinforced concrete pipes may be best established through what? So letter A, sabi dito inspection of concrete pipes sample. So kung babasahin natin yung choices, yung letter A medyo siya, parang hindi siya specific, no? So kung ano yung gustong i-inspect. Okay? So okay siya as answer but medyo mababaw pa. Letter B, checking of the material used. So kasi factory produce item siya. So pwede natin ma-check yung material pero doon kasi sa sa workmanship pa rin ipapasok kung tama ba yung procedure na ginawa. Okay? So yung material na ginamit. So kahit tama yan kung pangit naman yung pagbuo ng RCP natin. So wala din. Okay? So I think yung best answer yung letter C, through testing. Okay? Test of concrete pipe samples. Kasi itong letter D using it immediately. So as ME dapat doon tayo sa material testing, letter C. Okay? So pwede rin nagkaroon ng choices about being compliant with standards and specification. So pwede natin yang i-consider. Yan, pwede siya material testing. So yung material testing medyo madami na siya. So pwede tayong mag-dimensional checking kung tama ba yung height, width, or length ng pipe na na-deliver. And then ano pa bang pwede? Kasi material testing madami siya in dimensional, strength testing, durability, hydrostatic testing, and so on. So doon na siya papasok yung letter C. Okay? So hindi man very specific dun sa pinaka-testing, but syempre yung role naman natin as ME no, is to test the samples no, and to check the quality kung nasusunod ba yung standards and specifications. Okay? So agree naman tayo na letter C. Next, number 5. So where do we take additional cores when the measure of any core taken from the pavement is deficient in thickness by more than 25 mm? Okay? So if marirecall niyo yung lecture natin before, so di ba ang intervals natin doon from the center line is 5 meters, itong letter B, at no less than 5 meters intervals parallel to the center line in each direction from the affected location. So meron tayong interval na 5 meters, so pwede tayong mag-forward and backward inspection or checking. Okay? Yeah, so kung babalikan natin yung sa lecture, so ito yan. So when the measurement of any course less than the specified thickness by more than 25 mm, additional cores will be taken at no less than 5 meters intervals parallel the center line in each direction. Okay? So once na makapag-obtain na tayo ng less than 25 mm, so pwede na tayo mag-stop. Okay? So pag nag-stop tayo, meron naman siyang corresponding percentage para dun sa price. Okay? So kung babalikan natin, ito nga yung statement doon. Okay? Kung ano naman, kung sa department order naman, pwede kayong mag-check sa department order 134. So department order 134 series of 2017. Yun yung makikita niyo sa DPWH website. Department order 134 series of 2017. Okay? So letter B to. Next. Number 6, soft and unstable soils were encountered during the course of subgrade preparation. So if you were the materials engineer assigned to the project, what is the most effective and cheaper method that you would recommend to stabilize the soil prior to the construction of base course or sub-base course? Okay, so we have here cement stabilization, D, fly ash stabilization, C, geotextiles, and D, vibro flotation. So per checking ng natin, ng choices, so lahat naman sila pwede, no? But pwede natin i-check yung as a problem. Sabi kasi yung most effective and cheaper method. So if we consider yung cement stabilization, so okay din naman siyang gamitin, no? But then, medyo costly if we use this method. Okay? So makakatulong siya to increase the load bearing capacity and ma-reduce yung permeability, but pagdating sa cost, medyo mahal si cement stabilization. So si fly ash naman, so same method naman sa ginagawa kay A, but mas lesser cost siya compared kay cement stabilization. And possibly, baka yung source nito medyo mahirap hanapin. Then si geotextiles naman, so mas cheaper sa dalawa. So mas cheaper si geotextile. Then si vibro flotation, so ito mas mahal dito sa tatlo. Okay? So based na rin sa research, no, and checking ng mga reference and yung paulit-ulit na paglabas dito sa past exams, no. So answer is letter C, geotextiles. So anong meaning ng geotextiles? Ayan. So yung geotextiles are mostly used in road construction, especially to fill gaps between the roads to improve soil structure. Okay? And then yung geotextile natin, hindi siya directly, no, na kumbaga hindi siya direct sa soil na nagko-contribute. Okay? So ang purpose lang kasi ng geotextile natin is to distribute the loads over the area. For example, dito sa picture natin, no. So nadi-distribute lang yung loads according to the area. So unlike the other methods, yung cement, fly ash, so ano na siya, kumbaga nagkakaroon ng mixing doon sa natin sa soil. Unlike dito, dinidistribute lang natin yung loads. Okay? So para ma-prevent natin yung soil movement, also for drainage, no, so nakakatulong din siya. Okay? So agree naman tayo geotextiles. Next, number 7. So for surface tolerances, the surface will be checked by the use of a blank at site selected by the engineer. So ito naman, I think familiar na sa inyo, no, yung letter C, 3 meter straight edge. Yan, so this material, no, may be used to determine the lateral surface irregularity or regularity of a road surface. So itong 3 meters na length na to, so pwede natin makuha yung mga gaps using the gap checker based on picture, no. So may gap checker naman tayo to measure that. Okay? So this lightweight apparatus is made up of mild steel or aluminum as per customer's requirement and is equally supported at both ends, producing a set height between the road surface and the beam. So any vertical irregularity is measured using the incremented wedges. Okay? So ginagamitan ng incremented wedges for measurement. Next, number 8. So what's the maximum average deficient thickness per lot of course specimen where 100% payment is recommended? Okay? So if you recall the table, this is letter A, 5 mm maximum. So range natin doon is from, ayan, so if 100% payment, so percentage of contract price per lot, so range is 0 to 5, 5 being the maximum. Okay? So if greater than 5, so meron tayong mga ibang criteria naman, no? So for 6 to 10, 95%, 11 to 15, 85%, 16 to 20, 70%, 21 to 25, 50%, more than 25, so remove and replace or no payment. Okay? So for this table, no, so lumabas ulit din siya nung last exam. So madalas to. So kahit itong table lang maalala nyo, may sure yan, I tingin ko. Sa dami ng sets, malabong hindi lumabas to. Okay? So again, yung table pakitandaan. Next, problem number 8. Problem number 9. So concrete in the area represented by the course will be considered adequate if the average strength of the course is equal to at least blank of the specified strength F prime C and no single core is less than 75% of the F prime C. So ito rin, I hope familiar na kayo, no? This is letter B, 85%. Letter B. Then balikan natin yung table para mas familiar sa inyo. Again, concrete in the area represented by the cores will be considered adequate if the average strength of the cores is equal to at least 85% of, and if no single core is less than 75% of specified strength, F prime C. So deficiency in strength of concrete specimen and its percentage of contract price allowed. So itong table pakitandaan din. Okay, if less than 5, 100%, 5 to 10, 80%, 10 to 15, 70, 15 to 20, 50 to less than 20, 60, 20 to less than 25, 50. If 25 or more, zero payment. Okay. I think we're okay dito sa table, no? Next, problem number 10. So stockpiles of concrete aggregates shall be built up in layers of not more than blank in thickness. So answer here is letter A, 1 meter. So kung babalikan natin yung lecture natin, no, this is under 311.3.6, handling, measuring, and batching materials. So pwede yung balikan ano yun, under Portland Cement Concrete Pavement, item 311. Okay, so sabi doon, the batch plant site, layout, equipment, and provisions for transporting materials shall be such as to assure a continuous supply of material to work. And then stockpile shall be built up, ito nandito siya, of not more than 1 meter in thickness. Okay, so additional information na lumabas din before is itong last sentence. So sabi dito, aggregates from different sources and of different grading shall not be stockpiled together. Yan, nakasama na rin siya before sa mga practical questions. So again, if aggregates is magkaiba ng sources or magkaiba ng grading, so hindi dapat siya magkasama. Okay, next, number 11. So concrete not in place within blank minutes. So from the time the ingredients were charged into the mixing drum or that is developed initial set shall not be used. Okay, so per standard naman, no? So alam naman natin ano to, 1.5 or 90 minutes. Letter C. Kung babalikan natin yung lecture natin under limitation of mixing, so second line tayo dito, concrete not placed within 90 minutes. Ayan. So from the time ingredients were charged into the mixing drum or that has developed initial set shall not be used. Okay? And then please take note na lang itong last part, no? So the tempering of concrete or mortar which has, sabi dyan, partially hardened, that is remixing with or without additional cement, aggregate, or water shall not be permitted. Okay? So maging aware na lang din kayo guys sa mga practical questions na minsan kasi nagbibigay sila na parang lahat ng choices tama. But merong ano doon, merong tawag dito, may best answer. Okay? So yung before, experience ko na may tatlong tama, then merong all of the above. So doon sa tatlong pagpipilian mo, dapat may best answer ka doon. Okay? Kasi pag binasa mo yung tatlo, so mapapaisip ko, mukhang tama lahat, no? Tapos biglang napili mo all of the above. So make sure mo na may masaangat doon sa tatlo. Okay? Pag practical questions, ano yan, may specific na ano dyan. May isang tama lang dyan. Huwag kayong magpapaano, din lang doon sa all of the above. Okay? So may mga ibang nadali dyan, no? Sabihin, ay, mukhang tama naman yung tatlo. So yun pa yung term, mukhang tama. So meaning, kung babasahin mo ng isang beses lang, so mapapaniwala ka na tama yung tatlo. Well, tama nga din naman, pero yung strategy kasi ng examiner, may best answer doon sa tatlo. Okay? So basahin na lang maigi yung word by word kapag mga practical questions. Next, number 12. The SPT, or the standard penetration test, is an in situ test that measures what? Sabi dito, first, flexibility of soil, B, depth of soil layer, C, consistency, D, none of the above. So for the SPT, ang mini-measure natin dyan is, first, is the depth of the soil layer. So after the depth, pag nakuha na natin yung depth, so doon natin makakompute yung mga ibang properties, such as yung mga bearing capacity, density, angle of shearing resistance, and so on. So ito lang yung pinaka-ano natin, first measurement na makukuha. So SPT is one type of in situ soil test, and it is conducted to determine the geotechnical engineering properties. Yeah, so especially for cohesionless soil. So this test is most widely used to check various parameters and properties of soil on construction sites. Okay, so for any building foundation design and construction soil testing are essential. Again, as mentioned, this is useful for determining the bearing capacity, density, and angle of shearing resistance of any soil. So it can be used to determine the properties of cohesive and cohesionless soil. Okay, so agree naman tayo dun ng depth of soil layer. So hindi naman very direct na sinabi yung depth. Pero ito kasi yung parameter na kailangan natin to compute for the other engineering properties and ito nga, for bearing capacity and so on. So yung flexibility kasi tsaka yung consistency, so hindi siya clear to sa choices. Okay, so next, number 13. So the main problem associated with wrong practice of conveying. So conveying concrete is called what? So main problem, so ilang beses rin natin ito na-mention, letter A, segregation. So segregation of concrete is the separation of cement, paste, and aggregates of concrete from each other. So during handling and placement. So segregation also occurs due to over-vibration or compaction of concrete, in which cement paste comes to the top and aggregate settles at the bottom. Okay, so yung mga major contributors, no, or yung mga causes natin. First is yung mataas na water-cement ratio. Next is yung excessive vibration of concrete. Okay, so segregation, letter A. Sorry. Next, number 14. So what is the result in concrete pavement when very wet, incorporation of too many sands and overworking of the mix were done during placing? So answer natin dito is letter B. So common dito sa mga PAL exams, na madalas din lumabas. Letter B, scaling. So ito yung itsura ng scaling natin. Sometimes sa ibang questions, no, yung ibang term niya is yung local flaking. So pakitandaan na lang din. So scaling is local flaking or peeling. Ayan. So peeling of a finished surface of hardened concrete. So based sa picture naman natin, no, so nagkakaroon ng peeling. sa ating surface. So this is a result of exposure to freezing and thawing. So generally, it starts as localized small patches, which later may merge and extend to expose larger areas. So light scaling does not expose the core's aggregates. So ano lang siya, yung pinakaibabaw lang. Okay? So magre-repair tayo ng ganitong mga problems or mga issues. So first, siyempre tatanggalin muna natin yung mga may parts kasi dyan na possible pa siya masira. So gagamitan natin yan ng hammer para totally masira na yung mga parang kapak na rin yan considering ganun. So yung mga flaking na yan, sirain muna natin and then apply tayo ng surface sealer para makorek natin yung surface natin. Okay? Next, number 15. So the maximum IRI or International Roughness Index for both asphalt and pavement for national primary roads required by DPWH Department Order numbers 47 series of 2015. So for both asphalt and concrete pavement, so same lang siya, letter C. So 3 meters per kilometer. Ayan, so if we check the acceptable IRI values, so road classification is national primary road. And then for both asphalt and concrete pavement, IRI value is not more than 3. Okay, so parehas lang sila. Okay, number 15. Next, number 16, which is not a type of concrete slump. So letter A, shear slump, B, collapse slump, C, true slump, letter D, false slump. Okay, answer natin dito is letter D, false slump. So tatlo lang yung types na meron tayo dyan. Yeah. So yung collapse, shear, and true slump. So yung true slump, ito yung pinaka desirable sa atin, no? Kasi evenly yung pag-drop niya. Okay? However, yung shear naman, so kung mapansin natin kalahati lang ng concrete, yung next slide. Okay? So meaning yung concrete natin dito, kulang sa cohesion yan, kaya ganyan nangyari. Then pag collapse naman ito, hindi talaga dito pinaka okay sa tatlo. Okay? So meaning very wet ang ating mixture kapag collapse slump ang nangyari. Okay? Next, number 17. So computation, number 17, determine the degree of compaction. So given the field density test data, first is the weight of material taken from hole. This is 4.78 kilograms. Weight of sand to fill the hole, 3.55 kilograms. Volume of hole is 0.0028. Wet unit weight, 1750. Dry unit weight, 1420. And then the laboratory data is equals to, ito, maximum dry density is equals to 1856 and optimum moisture content of 8.1%. So sa problem natin, degree of compaction naman yung tinatanong. So make sure lang na yung data na binabasa natin is tama doon sa formula na gagamitin. So yung formula lang naman for degree of compaction is, yan, so degree of compaction is equals to, so dry density, or dry unit weight for field over dry unit weight for max laboratory data, times 100. Okay, so for this one, meron tayong values of 1420, given naman siya, dry unit weight from the field, so galing sa field density test data, 1420. So divided by 1856, ito naman yung laboratory data natin. Yan, maximum dry density, or unit weight. Okay, so meron naman yan, so wag lang kayo malilito ng gagamitin na value. So kailangan dry ang ating kukunin. Okay, so hindi pwede yung isa wet, yung isa dry. So make sure dry unit weight ang kukunin, or dry density. So ilang yung formula natin? So 1420 divided by 1856 times 100. So degree of compaction must be equals to 76.51%. So sa choices natin, letter B. Balikan natin. So may lang naman yung solution, no? So direct sub lang, basta alam natin yung formula for the degree of compaction. Yan, letter B, 77%. Okay naman tayo for number 17. So direct sub lang siya. Next, number 18. So what is its IRS, index of retained strength of bituminous mix having a moisture content of 11%, dry stability of 3,500, and wet stability of 2,200 pounds. Okay, so for this one, direct substitution din siya. So based on 307.2.1, composition and quality of bituminous mixture, under Blue Book Volume 2, page 111. So the mixture shall also have an index of retained strength of not less than 70 when tested by AASHTO T165. So ito yung formula natin, wet stability over dry stability times 100. So direct sub lang siya. 2,200 over 3,500 times 100 is equals to 62.86. So round up to 63%. Okay, so ito yung sagot natin if nakabase tayo sa formula. Pero meron ditong provision, no? Sabi, the mixture shall also have an index of retained strength of not less than 70. So kung not less than 70, ito yung minimum natin. Okay, dapat 70 ang sagot. Pero nung chinek namin yung choices, walang 70 and walang none of the above. So I think nung nilabas to sa exam, nakabase lang siya dun sa formula. Di siguro baka nakalimutan na nagpa-exam yung statement na to, no? So dapat na of not less than 70. So kung nakabase tayo sa formula, so actual choices naman to, 63 yung sagot. Pero nga, since minimum si 70, if ever na may 70 dyan, so go for 70. Okay? So pakitake note nun. Kasi kung 77, medyo malayo na siya, no? So dapat naka-refer tayo dun sa standard. Kasi nung naulit ko, 77 pa din. Iniisip ko nung una, baka typo lang, baka 72. Pero nung inulit siya, 77 pa din. So I think nag-refer muna dun sa sa formula lang siya. Okay? Pero kung sakali sa batch nyo, no, may 70, tapos less than yung na-compute nyo, so go for 70. Gets naman, okay? Next number 19. So a 450 mm asphalt overlay has a bituminous mix having a laboratory density of 2.56 grams per cubic centimeters. If its field density is 2.31 grams per cubic centimeters, what is the degree of compaction? Yan. So for this one, hindi naman binanggit yung word na dry, no? Pero assuming na dry, in dry condition na itong values natin. So to get the value of degree of compaction, gamitin lang ulit natin yung formula kanina. So yung field data natin is 2.31. Then yung laboratory data natin is 2.56 times 100. So the degree of compaction is equals to, so paki-check if same tayo ng sagot. So may mga choices naman dito na actual choices sa exam. So kaya nating ma-analyze din yung choices if may typography, may erroneous. So may ilan lang din na hindi exactly. Kumbaga hindi naman kayang maalala lahat ng choices na mga nagte-take before. So yung mga kaya lang. But then kung meron man mo-provide na complete choices, so yun yung pine-present din namin. Kasi mga erroneous di maiiwasan yan eh. So kasama din yan sa natin sa challenge if ever may erroneous. Kaya yung kanina yung 70 tapos 77. So chinek pa namin yung mga sumunod na exam if na ulit siya. Then ayun, same 77 pa din. Okay, so if same tayo 90%, this is letter C. Ayan, 90%. Next, number 20. So when vibrating concrete, vibrators shall be inserted in a vertical position for not more than, so ilang seconds to. So per practice naman, no? So this is 15 seconds. Letter C. So kailangan in vertical position. So inclined, so incorrect way kapag nakaslant. It must be in vertical position and 15 seconds. Okay? Then yung distance between vibrators, no? So dapat not more than 3 meters. Ayan. So next, number 21. So what is the magnitude of class B, test load of item 503? So drainage steel grating with frame. So class B. So class B is letter C, 80 kilonewtons. So balikan natin yung standard natin when it comes to drainage steel grating with frame. So this is based on 503.3, strength classifications and loading conditions for sump, trench, and box grids. So this is under Blue Book Volume 2, page 368. So this is from class A to class G. Ayan. So for class A, this is test load of 10 kilonewtons. Class B, so ito yung sagot natin. Class B, test load of 80 kilonewtons. Class C, test load 150 kilonewtons. Class D, test load 210. Class E, test load 400 kilonewtons. Class F, test load of 600 kilonewtons. And Class G, 900 kilonewtons. Okay? So no September last exam, lumabas din to. Pero ibang class yung tinatanong. I think E ata yun or D. Hindi ko lang maalala. Doon sa group chat namin before. Class D or Class E. So para mas sure, dapat alam natin yung from Class A to Class G. Okay? So for reference, no, check nyo rin dito sa Blue Book if same naman ang values. So para meron din kayong self-checking. Okay? Next, number 22. Ito yung ibang laman pala nung 511.3. So discuss ko na din. So under 511.3, strength classification and loading conditions for some trench and box grids. So nakalagay lang naman dito kung para saan yung mga per class natin or per category. So class A natin, this is for locations traffic only by pedestrians, wheelchairs, and cyclists. So this is inaccessible to motor vehicles by virtue of barriers, narrow passages, or step or unpaved approaches. Then for class B, this is for locations normally trafficked by pedestrians and slow-moving passenger cars or light agricultural tractors. So these locations include areas accessible to infrequent slow-moving heavy trucks. So typical locations include footpaths, ground level, and multi-storied car parks, suburban driveways, and backyards. Then for class C naman, this is for locations trafficked by slow-moving, fully laden trucks such as pedestrians, malls, and industrial or commercial areas. Then same for class E, class F, class G. So magkakaparehas lang sila. So this is for locations subject to vehicles such as forklifts or large forklifts, earth-moving or container handling equipment, and aircraft. Okay, so typical locations nito includes wharves, container storage areas, heavy industry or construction sites, or domestic or international airports. Kasi kasama dito yung sa aircraft. Okay, so class E, F, and G, same lang sila. So nagkakaroon lang ng difference when it comes to the test load. Okay, so next problem, 22. So what is the range of pH value of water that is suitable for concrete construction? So I think na-mention ko na sa inyo before, no? So range is between 6 and 8, letter B. So yung scale natin from 6 and 8, ayan. So dapat lang siya, between that range lang. So less than 6 kasi acidic na yung natin, water. If more than 8, tumataas yung alkaline level. Okay? So ito yung range natin from acidic to neutral to alkaline. Yung yung pag blood na yan, pamahiin lang naman yun. No? So hindi siya talagang nagpapatibay. Okay? Pero pasok siya kung 8, no? Pero syempre hindi naman puro yun ang lalagay mo. Okay. Next, number 23. So what do you call a test or third test which is such or just being conducted whenever the first two tests on a sample representing the same lot of materials have different results? Okay, so answer for this one is letter A, referee test. So for this one, actually hindi ko mahanap yung pinaka-reference nito na kung saan ko kinuha. Pero since paulit-ulit na lang din siya and then tumatama naman yung referee test. So consider na lang natin 'to. Pero yung exact words kasi ng, itong question and then yung referee test, hindi ko pa siya nahanap sa ano, sa mga standards or sa blue book. Pero kung may makita kayo, inform niyo ako kung saan. Okay, number 23, letter A. Next, number 24. So number 24, number of minutes to conduct slump test of fresh confit sample. So answer is letter. So sa choices natin, 2 minutes yung pinakamalapit, no? So answer is letter B, 2 minutes. Kasi if we check sa ano, mag-research tayo and mga reference, no, 2.5 ang duration for the slump test. Pero yun, nung minakita kong reference, di ko lang ma-recall kung anong standard yun. No? So minimum is 2 minutes, maximum is 2.5. So para range lang natin is from 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes. So to conduct slump test. Okay, so next, number 25. So what is the shape of the mesh formed by gabion steel wire? So familiar naman kayo sa mga gabion steel wire, no? So this is letter D, hexagon. Ayan, so madalas naman ginagamit natin yan for ano, for gabion walls natin. Next, number 26. So compute the percent variation in mass for 25 mm diameter deformed steel bar. So the length of the specimen is 3 meters, mass of specimen is 9.6 kilograms, nominal mass of 3.265 kilograms per meter, and then the nominal area is 491 square millimeters. Okay. So for this one, meron tayong reference from the Philippine National Standards. So as per 6.2.4 PNS or Philippine National Standards 49/2002. So this is under National Labor Standards. So the tolerance on the mass of one piece of steel bar shall be plus minus 6%. So because variation in cross-sectional area occurs during hot rolling, so nawala yung ano ko dito. Wait lang. Wait lang guys ah. Kala ko nawala yung sharing ko. Ayan, okay na ulit. Saan nga ako kanina? Ayan, during hot rolling. So, taas ko na lang to. Ayan. So corresponding variation in linear weight is to be expected. So for this reason, PNS 49 provides for an allowable variation in mass, or VIM, or plus minus 6% measured during 1 meter of rebar. So for this one, variation is equal to variation in mass over nominal mass times 100. Okay? So make sure lang na during computation, dapat tama yung ano natin, unit of measurement. Okay? So kailangan lang natin dito first is to ayan. So get the nominal mass. Nominal mass natin is 3.265 kilograms per meter minus the mass of specimen divided by the length of specimen, 9.6 kilograms divided by 3 meters. So para consistent tayo sa unit of measurement, so yung numerator natin is in kilograms per meter divided by the nominal mass times 100. So variation in mass is equals to 1.99% or equivalent to 2%. So this is letter B, 2%. Next, number 27. So the thinness and most fluid of medium curing cutback asphalt. Okay, so for this problem, no, so nagkaroon lang ng erroneous part to dun sa ERC review book. So nagkabaliktad lang siya. So I think that question na siya before. So ayan, so corrected naman siya during our lecture. Okay, so yung thinness and most fluid of medium curing cutback asphalt is from the choices. Ang sagot natin is letter A, MC70. The thinness and most fluid. So if you recall the lecture, yeah, so on the basis of relative speed of evaporation, cutback asphalts are divided into 3 types. You have rapid curing, medium curing, and slow curing. Okay, so medium curing or MC asphalt cement uses medium diluents of intermediate volatility, generally in kerosene boiling point of range. So yung number na yan is basis nitong ano natin, boiling point. Okay, so pag mas maliit yung value, so mas fluid yung ano natin, asphalt. So therefore, ano din siya, thinness. So thinness and most fluid, yung 30. Pero kung based sa choices naman, so MC70 pipiliin natin. Okay, so the lower the number of MC corresponds to the thinness and highest degree of liquidity. Okay, so okay tayo dito. So if meron kayong ERC book, so pakipalitan na lang doon or highlight nyo yun. Baliktad yung statement. So I think nagkamali lang yung author, no? So okay, so MC70 letter A. Next. So number 28, the thickest and lowest degree of liquidity of medium curing cutback asphalt. So if lowest degree and thickest, so as mentioned nga, doon tayo sa mas malaking value. So letter D, MC3000. Yan, so same explanation. So again, check natin yung kerosene boiling point range. So mataas siya. So meaning lowest degree of liquidity if you consider the 3000. Okay, so agree naman tayo for this one. Next number 29. So the bulk specific gravity of bituminous mix is 2.371 and dry stability is 3 to 50. So determine the approximate wet stability if its index of retained test or IRS is 77.6. So na-discuss naman natin yung formula na, so direct sum na lang tayo for this one. So get the wet stability. So index of retained strength, IRS, equals to wet over dry stability times 100. So meron tayong value ng IRS, 77.6% equals to wet over dry. Dry is 3 to 50 times 100. So wala naman tayong problema sa mga unit of measurement, no? So get the value of the wet stability. Okay, so for this one, check if tama tayo ng value, 2,522 pounds. So this is letter A, 2522. Next number, number 30. So which of the following is not commonly used as a measure of the hardness of concrete? Okay, so first is soundness test. So if you recall naman na si soundness test is very common for the hardness of concrete. Letter C then fractured face test. And then hardness and toughness, Los Angeles abrasion test. So agree with A, B, and C. Then sa letter D naman yung iba, petrographic test. So ito naman yung gumagamit ng microscope, no, to examine the minerals and concrete, no. So letter D yung sagot natin for number 30. Petrographic test. So we have explanation naman, no. Yan. So sabi dito for letter A, an unsound cement will affect the quality of the cement work performed. This demands of soundness test of cement before using it. So through this test, it is ensured that the cement would undergo an expansion or sort of expansion due to the presence of excess amount of lime. Then for letter B, so using Los Angeles abrasion test, it is normally used to measure the aggregate hardness, toughness, and abrasion resistance with respect to scuffing, scratching, wearing, marring, rubbing, and disintegration. And for letter C, fracture phase test, so it determines the amount or percentage of fracture phase rock particles. So this is by visual inspection. So that means specific requirements. Okay, so the fracture phase of each rock particle must meet a minimum cross-sectional area. Okay, so medyo related naman siya to hardness of the concrete. Then yung iba sa tatlo is itong petrographic. So petrographic testing, then double check natin with ASTM C856 kung hindi talaga siya related to hardness of concrete. But then itong method to or this method uses microscope to examine the mineralogical and chemical characteristic of concrete and minerals. Okay, so for checking or for examination. Okay, so next number 31. So it shall be constructed when there is an interruption of more than 30 minutes in the concreting operations. Yan, so for this one, this is letter. So baka malito lang sa mga wordings, no? So ang right answer dito is letter B, transverse construction joint. So not contraction, na construction joint. Okay, so it shall be constructed again when there's an interruption of more than 30 minutes. So based on standards naman to, no? And practice. Okay, so sabi rin dito, so no transverse joint shall be constructed within 1.5 meters of an expansion joint, contraction joint, or plane of thickness. And also please take note, if sufficient concrete has been mixed at the time of interruption to form a slab of at least 1.5 meters long, the excess concrete done from the last preceding joint shall be removed and disposed of as directed. Okay, shall be removed and disposed of as directed. Okay. Next, number 32. So class of stone for proper in stones are ranging from minimum of 100 kilograms to a maximum of 200 kilograms with at least 50% of the stones weighing more than 150 kilograms. So ito madalas din ko lumabas sa mga public exams, no? So meron naman tayong reference for this one. So pakitandaan din lahat ng mga classes. So for this item, this is under class D, letter D. So class D, this is based on 505.2.1 under stones. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 374. So stones for riprap shall be one. The following classes are shown on the plans or determined by the engineer. So for class A, sabi dito, stones ranging from a minimum of 15 kilograms to a maximum of 25 kilograms with at least 50% of the stones weighing more than 20 kilograms. So ito naman, average naman to ng minimum and maximum, no? So hindi niyo kailangan memorize number by number. Okay, minimum of 15, maximum of 25, average is 20. Kasi at least 50% siya. So makana na lang, get the average. So for class B, stones ranging from a minimum of 30 kilograms to a maximum of 70. So with at least 50% of the stones weighing more than 50 kilograms. So minimum of 30, maximum of 70. So average natin is 50 kilograms. For class C, stones ranging from a minimum of 60 to maximum of 100. Okay, minimum 60, maximum 100, average natin is 80 kilograms. Then yung last class natin is class D. Stones ranging from minimum of 100 to 200 kilograms. So average of minimum maximum natin is 150. So ito yung nasa natin problem, class D. Okay, so pakimemorize na lang din lahat ng classes na to for class A, B, C, and D. So double check din with Blue Book kung tama yung mga data na nakalagay dito. Okay, next number 33. What is the minimum strength and maximum absorption requirement for load-bearing concrete masonry? So for load-bearing concrete masonry, this is letter C. So 5.41 megapascals for individual, 6.84 for average, and then absorption value of 240 kilograms per meter. So checking our reference under lecture natin ng concrete hollow blocks. So for non-load-bearing concrete masonry units under ASTM C150, so the strength requirements are the following. So for individual, this is 3.45 or 500 psi minimum. For average, this is 4.14 megapascals or 600 psi minimum. And then for the load-bearing naman, under ASTM C90, strength requirements for individual is 5.41 megapascals or 800 psi minimum. Average is 6.89 megapascals or 1000 psi minimum. Absorption value of 240 kilograms per meter maximum, and moisture content of 25% maximum. Okay, so this is for non-load-bearing concrete masonry units under ASTM C150 and load-bearing concrete masonry units under ASTM C90. Okay, so madalas din ito tanongin class, so please take note. So next, number 34. Yan. So a milky deposit containing cement and fine aggregate on the surface of yolk content combined with bleeding, overworking of mix of improper finishing. Okay? So baka masanay kayo sa feature, no? So sa actual exam walang mga features. So make sure lang na ano natin, ma-understand natin yung mga questions and sentences. Okay? So for this one naman, familiar na tayo dito since na-discuss na rin natin siya during our lecture. So if milky deposit siya containing cement and fine aggregates, this is letter B, lichens. So combination siya, unlike ng bleeding, no, na excessive water ang naging cause niya. Next, number 35, sorry. So what is the maximum center-to-center spacing of peoples of a wall of an abutment? Okay, so per standard, ang maximum center-to-center spacing natin is 2 meters, maximum. Yan, so this is under 505.3.4, whip hose. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 376. So all walls and abutments shall be provided with whip hose. So unless otherwise shown on the plans or directed by the engineer. So the whip hose shall be placed horizontally at the lowest points where free outlets from water can be obtained and shall be spaced at not more than 2 meters center-to-center in a staggered manner. Okay, so marami namang purpose ang whip hose natin, no? So it allows water to escape. So purpose na is for drainage, so for ventilation, tsaka siguro consider naman yung hydrostatic pressure if may mga floods tayo. So depende siya kasi minsan sa mga perimeter fence, so nilalagyan natin yun ng whip hose para doon sa adjacent lupa or area na katabi natin. So pag bina, so yun ang purpose niya, no? Ni whip hose. For drainage, hydrostatic pressure. Yan. Kaya parang hindi rin maipon yung tubig sa kabilang side ng ano natin, let's say perimeter fence. Okay? Next, number 36. So test result from specimen taken from a recently rolled asphalt pavement show that its total asphalt content by 5.45% by weight of mix. So if the asphalt absorbed by the aggregates is 0.95%, so determine the effective asphalt content by weight of mix. So for this one, meron tayong formula from Blue Book. So this is our formula. Yan, so the effective asphalt content so is equals to P sub B. P sub B is the asphalt content minus so absorbed asphalt divided by or over 100 multiplied by P sub S. So P sub S natin is the aggregate content. Or in the aggregate content is equals to 100 minus P sub B or asphalt content. Okay? So as long as we have the value, so direct sub lang din naman to. Okay? So make sure lang na alam natin yung ibig sabihin ng mga ano dito, mga data natin. Okay? So yung notes pala natin guys, nandun siya sa ano sa group. I mean dito sa Teams. So pinost ko siya kanina. So if ever na hanapin nyo, so i-download nyo na lang doon. Okay? So baka maghanap yung iba sa group chat ng Messenger. So dito ko po sa Teams ina-upload. Yan, okay? So paki-check na lang sa ating Teams yung file. Okay? So proceed tayo sa computation. Okay, so yung P sub S ginawa ko ng 100 minus P sub B. Then direct sub the values. So yung P sub B natin is 5.45 asphalt content minus absorbed asphalt 0.95%. So given naman siya over 100 multiplied by 100 minus 5.45%. Okay, so in percentage naman lahat ng data natin dito. So direct sub the values, then check if tama yung nakuha kong sagot. So effective asphalt content by weight of mix is equals to 4.552%. Yan, so 4.552% effective asphalt content by weight of mix. Okay, so this is letter B, 4.55%. Okay, so anong oras na ba? Yeah. Ayun guys, request ulit ako ng break time, no? So break tayo ng dalawang break lang, no? 2:30 tsaka 4:15. Para ano din, may rest din ako sa sa boses, no? Okay? So 2:27 pa lang. Pero ano tayo, break na rin tayo. Okay? Hanggang ano to, 15 minutes lang naman. Okay? So if may questions po, iwan lang kayo sa Q&A natin or sa Messenger. Okay? Thank you. Continue tayo later. Start tayo ng problem number 37. Thank you po. Gravity of the composite aggregate. Force aggregate. Then fine aggregates and mineral filler rest mix prepared in the laboratory. Ayan, naka-join na yung iba. Okay, so an asphalt mix prepared in the laboratory used 30%, 50%, and 20% by weight of coarse aggregate, then fine aggregates and mineral filler respectively. So if the specific gravity of coarse aggregates, fine aggregates, and mineral filler are the following, so 2.5, 2.65, and 2.5 respectively, so determine the specific gravity of the composite aggregate. Okay, so to compute for the composite aggregate, so using this formula, so i-direct sub lang natin lahat ng mga values. Yan, so 100% over the specific gravity of the mix equals to 30% for the coarse aggregates over 2.5 plus 50% over 2.65 plus 20% over 2.5. So for coarse aggregates, fine aggregates, and mineral filler. Okay, so to compute for the specific gravity of the composite aggregate, so lagyan natin sa calculus and please check kung tama tayo ng computation or same tayo. So specific gravity is equals to, so please check. Answer should be 2.573. Ayan, so same lang din sa akin. So sa choices natin, this is letter C, 2.57. Ayan, so balikan natin. So ito yung solution. Answer is 2.573. So okay na tayo dito, letter C, 2.57. Specific gravity of composite aggregate. Next, number 38. So what is the preferred climatic conditions when using high penetration grade or soft asphalts? Okay, so kapag high penetration grade or soft asphalt, ginagamit natin siya for letter B, cold climates. Okay, so letter B. Yeah, so for low penetration asphalt binders, so these are hard asphalts and used in warm or hot climates, while the high penetration asphalt binders is for soft asphalts and used in cold climates. Okay, so ito yung sa natin sa question, yung high penetration asphalt binders. Okay, so kaya rin siya soft asphalt, no? So kailangan yung asphalt natin, kailangan niyang maging flexible, no, to prevent cracking. Then kaya din siya ginagamit for cold climates. Then yung ano naman, hard asphalt naman natin, or low penetration asphalt binder or hard asphalt, ginagamit natin siya sa hot climates. So para ma-resist natin yung rotting and deformation due to high temperature. Okay, so next, number 39. So a 3.5 meters width, a single lane pavement has a shoulder width of 0.5 meter on each side. So it was designed so to have subbase and base course of a combined thickness of 450 millimeters. So how the spreading and compaction of the subbase and base courses be carried out if the thickness of the subbase is 250 mm. Okay, so for this one, yeah, so refer to DPWH Department Order number 70 series of 2016. So this is adoption of compacted thickness of 200 mm in item 200 aggregate subbase course and item 201 aggregate base course in concrete and asphalt paving works of national roads. So with that, the 200 mm sa base course, so ito yung given natin, and 250 base course will be compacted with an extension of 0.5 meter on each side. Thus, the total carriageway will be 4.5. Okay, so 3.5 meters plus 2.5 on each side. So in total carriageway natin is 4.5 meters. Okay, and then the base course is equals to, so 200 divided by 200, one layer. Then for the base course, yung remaining natin na value is 250. So 250 divided by 200 is equals to 100 is equals to 1.25. So round up po tayo dito. Therefore, yung base course natin is 2 layers. So base course is 1 layer. So a total of 3 layers. Okay, so in 3 layers over the full width of 4.5 meters. Again, considering the shoulder width for both sides. So this is letter, ayan, meron pala dito. Total of 3 layers. So answer is letter A. So in 3 layers, so over the full width of 4.5 meters. Letter A. So okay naman tayo dito, no? So in 3 layers over the full width of 4.5 meters. Next, number 40. So determine the range of temperature to which drying ovens must be preset. So for practice naman and standard, this is letter B, 105 to 110 degrees Celsius. Letter B, 105 to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, next, number 41. Determine the recommended thickness of a preformed joint filler for item 601, sidewalk. So for this one, answer is letter C, 5 mm. So yung 5 mm natin, nakuha natin siya dito. So based on 601.2.3, expansion joint filler under Blue Book Volume 2, page 457. So unless otherwise stated or ordered, the preformed joint filler shall have a thickness of 5 mm and shall conform to the requirements of item 311, Portland Cement Concrete Pavement. Okay, so answer is 5 millimeters. So thickness of preformed joint filler. Okay tayo dito. Next, number 42. So the minimum number of hours wherein the posts of guardrail remain undisturbed from the time they are embedded in a concrete foundation block. So answer here is letter C, 48 hours. So please take note, this is based on 603.3.1 under post. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 462. So please check na lang yung reference natin. So posts shall be at vertically in the position shown on the plans and were embedded in a concrete foundation block and shall remain undisturbed for a minimum of 48 hours. Okay, next, number 43. So ito lumabas to last September exam. So what is the minimum thickness being required to sign panels for warning, regulatory, and informatory signs? So answer here is letter A, 3 mm. So this one, so galing siya dito based on 605.2.1 sign panels. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 466. So sign panels for warning, regulatory, and informatory signs shall be manufactured from aluminum sheeting at least 3 millimeters thick. So 3 millimeters. Okay tayo dito, number 43. Next, number 44. So how many samples from 370 pieces of reinforced culvert pipe should be subjected for strength test, absorption test, and dimension checking? So for this one, based on the MTR, or minimum requirements for submission of samples, strength test, absorption test, and dimension checking shall be carried out for every 50 pieces of pipes or fraction thereof. So number of samples is equals to 370 pieces of RCP or culvert pipe divided by 50, or fraction thereof. So mangyari, round up tayo. Okay, so 370 over 50 is 7.4, round up to 8, therefore number of samples is equals to 8 pipes. 8 pipes. So this is letter D. Based sa choices natin, letter D. Again, this is in every 50 pieces. So 370 divided by 50. Next, number 45. So determine which of the following is class 1 surface finish. So for class 1, answer is letter A, ordinary finish. Ordinary finish. Then this one is coming from, so based on 407.3.7, concrete surface finishing under Blue Book Volume 2, page 283. So surface finishing shall be classified as follows. So we have 3 classes. So for class 1, this is ordinary finish. Class 2, rub finish. Then for class C, floated finish. Okay, so please take note of these 3 classes. Then all concrete shall be given class 1, ordinary finish, and additionally any further finish as specified. Okay, next, number 46. So what is the minimum compressive strength of class B, 150 by 200 mm concrete cylinder specimen at 28 days in megapascals? So class B. So ang class A natin 20.7, class B is 16.5. So answer natin is letter A, 16.5 megapascals. Okay? So ayan, so based on table 405.2, composition and strength of concrete for use in structures. So under Blue Book Volume 2, page 257, the minimum compressive strength of each class are as follows. Ganyan, yung class A natin is 2.7, class B is 16.5 megapascals, class C is 20.7, class B 37.7, and class C 20.7 megapascals. Okay tayo dito, number 46. Next, number 47. So what is the range of the slump that will produce workable concrete if not vibrated? Yeah, so for this one, nasa lecture natin to, no? So answer here is letter D, 40 mm to 75 mm. Okay? So nandun yan sa part ng ito, proportioning, consistency, and strength of concrete. So paki-double check na lang, naka-underline din yan before sa ano natin lecture. Yan, so cement content and the proportions of aggregate and water that will produce workable concrete having a slump of between 40 and 75, or 1.5 and 3 inches if not vibrated, or between 10 and 40, or 1/2 and 1.5 if vibrated. Okay, so yung range natin again, 40 to 75 mm if not vibrated. Under proportioning, consistency, and strength of concrete. Okay tayo sa reference. Next, number 48. So what is the required density of a rock asphalt hot laid pavement? So answer here is letter C, 97%. So this one is coming from cheap 313.3.7 rolling. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 169. So further rolling shall be continued until the minimum compaction is not less than 97%. So of the required density of the laboratory compacted specimen, and all roller marks are eliminated. So not less than 97%. Next, number 49. So actually lahat ng questions natin dito, no? So available naman yung reference niya, kaya pwede nyo i-double check. Okay? So lahat yan based on standards. So number 49. So how much is the recommended static load increment in pile testing? So increment in pile testing is equals to, this is increments of 5 or 10 tons. Letter C, 5 tons. So this is based on 400.1.3.1 static testing. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 172. So the load shall be applied in increments of 5 or 10 tons as directed by the engineer. So gross settlement readings, loads, and other data shall be recorded by the engineer immediately. So before and after the applications of each load increment. Okay, so 5 or 10 tons. Okay, next number 50. So how many blows are required when performing beam sampling of concrete pavement? So answer natin dito is 2 layers, then 63 blows per layer, letter B. Yan, so for molding of beam, a flexure test specimen for concrete pavement, beam specimens is 6 by 6 by 21, wherein 1 blow per square inches yung requirement natin for that. Then for the number of blows, we have 63 blows per layer using the same rammer as in concrete cylinder sample. So a total of 2 layers for this. And please take note the flexural strength at 14 days for third point method is 3.8 megapascals or 550 psi, and for midpoint method 4.5 megapascals or 650 psi. Okay tayo dito. Next, number 51. So what is the minimum average compressive strength of load-bearing concrete hollow blocks? So na-discuss na natin 'to kanina 'no. So iba lang yung tanong. Okay. So load-bearing siya, answer is 1,000 PSI. So I think nandito naman yung same reference kanina, ayan. So for concrete hollow blocks, again yung non-load-bearing natin is under ASTM C150. Tapos itong tanong naman is for the load-bearing concrete hollow blocks. So dito tayo sa number 2. Ang tinatanong diyan is minimum average compressive strength. So minimum average. So dito tayo. Minimum average is 6.89 megapascals or 1,000 PSI. So ito yung sagot natin, 1,000 PSI. Depende sa unit of measurement no, na ibibigay sa choices. 6.89 megapascals or 1,000 PSI. Next, number 52. So the design thickness of a concrete core taken for thickness determination is 23 centimeters or 230 mm. So the measured thickness at its sides in centimeters are the following. So meron tayong ilang ano to. 23.3, 22.4, 23.5, 23.1, 22.5, 24, 23.7, and 24. We have 8 at its sides, and then meron tayong measured thickness at the center, 23 centimeters. So determine its average thickness. So in getting the average, so meron din tayong limitation dito, and meron tayong basis na standard. So hindi pwedeng kukunin lang yung mismong average niya. Okay? So since meron tayong design thickness, dapat naka-refer tayo kay 23 centimeters. So ito yung design thickness. So with that, sundan natin yung standard. So based on 311.3.22, tolerance in pavement thickness. So from Blue Book Volume 2, page 163. So sabi dito, in calculating the average thickness of the pavement, individual measurements which are in excess of specified thickness, sabi in excess of specified thickness by more than 5 mm. Sabi sabihin, pag yung 23 centimeters na design thickness natin, so ito yung basis natin, kapag yung mga measured thickness is more than 5 mm, yung differences sa design thickness, ang consideration natin will be specified thickness or design thickness plus 5 mm. Okay? And measurement which are less than the specified thickness by more than 25 mm shall not be included in the average. Yan, kapag more than 25 mm, tanggal siya sa average. Okay? So with that, itabulate na lang natin para mas madali maintindihan. Yan, so first column natin is yung actual measurements. So ginawa ko na siyang in millimeters para inline tayo dun sa standard. So para ma-relate natin dun sa 5 mm and 25 mm na sinasabi dito. Okay? So we have 369, so 9 measurements. Okay? Actual yung first column natin, no? Then yung second column natin is yung variation. So i-minus lang naman natin yung design thickness to get the variation. So for the first data, 233 minus 230, variation natin is 3. Next, 224 minus 230 na design thickness, variation is negative 6. Then 235 minus 230, 5. 231 minus 230, 1. 225 minus 230, negative 5. 240 minus 230, 10. So 10 is greater than 5. So sabi nga dyan, kapag yung specified thickness or individual thickness natin is more than 5 mm, ang consideration natin is yung design or specified thickness plus 5 mm. So later dyan tayo sa corrected value or yung third column. Okay, so next natin 237 minus 230, this is 7. 7 is greater than 5. Next 240, 240 minus 230 is equals to 10, greater than 5. Then 230 minus 230 is 0. Okay, so corrected value natin. So for the first data, 233, so okay naman tayo dito. If negative, walang problema. So stick with 224. If exactly 5, so no problem kasi ang nasa standard naman natin kapag more than 5 mm siya. So if 5 naman siya, okay, walang problema. Stick with the actual. So 235 yung corrected value. So 231, 225. So itong actual na 240, since variation is 10 greater than 5, ang mangyayari, specified thickness natin or design thickness na 230 plus 5 equals to 235. Same with 237. So corrected is 230 plus 5 equals to 235. Next, for the 240, so greater than 5 yung variation natin, therefore 230 plus 5 equals to 235. Then last data is 230, same lang with corrected. Yan, so kapag nakuha na natin yung mga corrected values, that's the time na kukunin natin yung average. Okay? So paki-check kung same tayo ng average thickness. So get the average of these 9 values. So 233 plus 224 plus 235 plus 231 plus 225 plus tatlong 235 plus 230 divided by 9. Yan. So sa akin, ito pa rin yung lumabas. So average thickness is equals to 231.44 millimeters. Again, considering the standards, no, tandaan nyo to. Okay, so lumabas na po ito sa exam. So mas okay para sa akin yung nakatabulate na natin, na computation. So para di magulo yung yung computation nyo. Okay? So during exam naman, may allotted space naman, no? So minsan may pasok silang blank na paper for computations. Minsan naman wala. So depende rin sa magbibigay sa inyo or depende sa proctor. Okay? So yung naman, yung question naman, medyo siya, parang malaki yung space for the test paper. Kaya pwede kayo mag-solve to. Yan. So average thickness natin is 231.44. Choices natin is in centimeters. Convert na lang natin. Answer is equals to letter B, 23.14 centimeters. Again, kapag may more than 25 mm, no, tatanggalin natin siya sa average. So pakitandaan yun. Okay? Next, number 53. So chevrons should be installed blank above the ground in the rural areas. Okay, so for this one, yung distance natin from the ground surface in rural areas is equals to letter A, 1.5 meter. Yan, so 1.5 kapag rural areas, kapag urban areas naman 2.2. Yan, so check natin sa standard. Yan, so based on 620.2.2 design, so from Blue Book Volume 2, page 510. So sabi dito, it is recommended that the spacing of chevron signs should allow the driver to see at least 3 signs. Yeah, 3 signs in view while negotiating the curve until the change in alignment eliminates the need for the signs. So chevron signs shall be mounted clearly off the roadside vegetation and clearly visible under headlight illumination by night. So chevrons should be installed 1.5 meters above the ground in rural areas and 2.2 meters in the urban areas. Okay? So actually itong chevron signs, no, medyo may issue yan sa government ngayon sa budgeting. So kung nabasa niyo yung parang interview sa isang personnel ng government, sabi nila yung mga chevron signs daw na ina-award sa contractor, minsan per post yan, umaabot ng mga 20,000 kada isa. Multiplied by, yung iba kahit di naman kailangan ng chevron signs, nilalagay nila. So, ayun, medyo malaki ng cost na pinapatong for chevron signs. Yan. Dapat ano lang to, nasa, including yung ano niya, yung parang foundation niya, baka less than 10K or around 5K, kaya na to eh. Pero sa mga mga BOQ na ina-award sa contractors, medyo mahal, nasa 20 gano'n, 20 plus. Okay, next, number 54. So what is the method used in determining the strength of concrete pipes? So A, third point loading, B, midspan loading, C, 3-edge bearing, D, none of the above. So answer for this one is letter C, 3-edge bearing test, or TEB test. Yeah. So the 3-edge bearing test is a method that determines the strength of concrete pipe by applying a specific load in a controlled environment such as the precast plant. Okay? So how it works, so based sa picture natin, no, just place the pipe on a pair of bearing strips. So meron naman tayong bearing strips dito. Then ang ina-apply natin dyan is vertical load, and based din naman sa sa picture. So linear load vertically. Yan. Then after nyan, i-measure yung vertical and horizontal deflection at the both ends of the pipe. Okay? Then record the values kapag nakuha natin yung mga ultimate load achieved for the pipe. Okay? So next, number 55. So what will be your decision as a materials engineer when you notice that the materials delivered as construction work progresses at the project site are different from the ones tested and that pass the requirements? So doon pa lang, class, no, sinabi dito sa statement to, are different from the ones tested. So as ME, so yung mga ganitong situation, dapat nire-reject natin yung mga materials na yan. So letter C, reject the newly delivered materials. Okay, so dapat same siya dun sa na-testing natin and pass the requirements. Okay? Next, number 56, a metal device that are used in load transfer device held in position parallel to the slab of pavement. So answer here is letter B, the load transfer device, dowel. Letter B. Yeah, so load transfer device, dowel when used shall be held in position parallel to the surface and center line of the slab by a metal device that is left in the pavement. So in lieu of using dowel assemblies at contraction joints, dowel may be placed in the full thickness of pavement by a mechanical device approved by the engineer. Okay, next, number 57. Oversanded and undersanded concrete mixtures require more water in order to be workable, but will only result to A, average strength, B, weak strength, C, higher strength, D, none of the above. So oversanded na siya and undersanded. So para maging workable, mag-add tayo ng more water. So with that, hihina yung strength natin. Letter B. Yeah, so cement and aggregates provide strength, durability, and volume stability in concrete. But too much or little of one in relation to the other reduces the quality or oversanded and undersanded condition. Mas mag-add pa tayo ng water, no? So it will just result to the reduction of strength or weak strength. Pwede rin mag-increase yung shrinkage natin, no? Okay, kasi yung water natin, kaya niyang, pag natuyo na yung concrete, so mas mataas yung risk niya for cracking. Okay? And also yung durability, syempre. So, pangit yung magiging result natin. Next, number 58. So 58, a method in determining in-place density of soil that can be used satisfactorily in moist, cohesive, fine-grained material only. So answer here is letter C, drive cylinder method. Yeah, so this test method covers the determination of in-place density of soil by a drive cylinder method and can be used in moist and cohesive fine-grained material only. So the test method involves obtaining an intact soil sample using this thin-walled cylinder into the soil and conducting specific measurements and calculations for the determination of in-place density. Okay, so again, this is only for moist and cohesive fine-grained material only. Okay, so hindi siya pwede for example, mga organic soil, mga soft or high plastic soils, non-cohesive saturated soils, hindi siya pwede doon. Next, number 59. So a method in determining in-place density of compacted or firmly bonded soil by using a flexible membrane and liquid. So flexible membrane and liquid, this is letter B, rubber balloon method. Yeah, so balloon density apparatus determines the in-situ density and unit weight of the soil when testing compacted earth fields. So this apparatus is a water-filled calibrated vessel fitted with a hand-operated pump. So meron tayong hand-operated pump to pressurize the chamber. Then a thin flexible membrane, the rubber balloon, on the bottom displaces under pressure to fill a void. Okay? So for this method, hindi siya suitable for same kanina yung mga organic soil, saturated, and high plastic soil. Okay? Also hindi siya pwede dun sa syempre yung mga soil na madaling ma-deform. Ayun, same lang din pala kanina yung mga saturated and high plastic soil. Okay, so okay tayo with number 59. Next, number 60. So a light spray application of asphalt on existing pavement as a seal to inhibit traveling. So this light spray application is letter A, fog seal. So fog seals are applied by a distributor truck. So the distributor truck slightly hits the asphalt emulsion before spraying it into the pavement. So once applied, the surface has the appearance similar to the pavement having been sprayed painted black. Okay? So ito example natin na picture, and then ayun nga, nasisil niya yung mga cracks, mga minor cracks. Then kaya niya i-preserve yung pavement. Okay? So kaya niya i-protect from any water damages, oxidation, and so on. At saka yung pag-fade ng color. So mababalik niya yan. So may improve yung appearance. Okay, tayo with number 60, fog seal. Next, 61. So a light application of bituminous material for the express purpose of laying and bonding loose dust. Yeah, so for this one, answer is letter B, dust binder. Ayan, so dust binder is a multi-purpose micropolymer additive for water carts and space systems. Ayan, so when applied on unsealed ground and stockpiles, it maximizes water penetration and binds all fine particles together to greatly improve dust control. Okay? Next, number 62. So bituminous sand application to an existing pavement to seal the surface and to function as a light wearing course. So for 62, this is letter D, sand seal. So for sand sealing, it is a preventive maintenance tool that can be used on cold seams, shoulders, rumble strips, and cracked, pitted, or oxidized asphalt surfaces. So itong sand sealing natin, tinatawag din siyang CRF, restorative seal. So it rejuvenates the surface through the application of an asphalt emulsion, directly followed by sand to function as a light wearing course. Okay, so if kailangan nyo ng data for the CRF, no, so available naman siya online. So I think ang alam ko product siya yung CRF. Then meron silang specialized na, na material. Okay, so ito yung picture ng untreated and treated. Okay, tayo with number 62. Next, number 63, a spray application of bituminous material used to temporarily stabilize a recently seeded area. So for this one, answer is mulch treatment, letter C. Yeah, so using mulch on construction sites help reduce erosion and to allow newly planted seed to become established. So protective mulch application that covers at least 85% of the soil surface helps prevent seeds from washing away, then provides a better environment for germination and slows runoff on the slopes. Okay? So aside from that, pwede rin siya makatulong sa temperature, no? So temperature ng area, and then ayun nga yung soil natin, fertility and soil structure for this area applied by the mulch treatment. Okay, with number 63, next number 64. So it determines if asphalt is overheated during production. So for this one, using letter A, spot test, so we can determine if asphalt is overheated during production. So the spot test is used to determine whether or not an asphalt cement has been damaged during processing due to overheating. So for this one, tinanong siya last September, no? Tapos ang tinatanong is yung color. Tapos meron dong mga choices na mga gray, black. So kapag nag-overheat tayo, ang itsura natin is dark brown. So nasa choices naman yung dark brown, no? So okay. So this damage called cracking occurs because the actual molecules are thermally broken apart. So cracked asphalt cements tend to be less ductile and more susceptible to aging effects. So okay tayo for number 64. Next, number 65. So number 65, the apparatus used to determine the flash point of an asphaltic material. So the flash point of the asphaltic material, answer for this one is letter B, Cleveland Open Cup. So actually, aside from flash point, no, pati yung far point naman nakukuha din using the Cleveland Open Cup. Yan, sabi nito, it is used to determine the flash and far point of an asphaltic material. So it consists of a brass cup, ayan, yung brass cup mounted on an electric heater with a temperature controller and thermometer. Okay? So yung far point natin dito, ang tanda ko after 5 seconds ng flash point, pwede na ma-determine yung, yung pinaka-far point natin. At least 5 seconds. What else? Ang palatandaan din sa flash point natin kapag nag-ignite na yung vapor natin. So when the vapor ignites, then yung temperature na ma-record natin, ito yung magiging sa natin, the flash point. Tapos after nun, continue lang yung test until yung liquid ay ma-burn for at least nasa ganun na 5 seconds para ma-meet natin yung far point. Not sure lang sa 5 seconds, no? Check ko later kung tamang 5 seconds siya. Next, number 66. So a document signed by the director of DRS issued to testing laboratory authorizing them to perform the required testing in behalf of TPWH. So for this one, answer is certificate of accreditation. So ito yung makukuha natin kapag pumasa na sa exam. Okay? So signed siya by the director of DRS, and then yung mga dating certificate namin, wala pa siyang ID picture. Pero yung bago ngayon, yung mga naabutan ng cut-off. So required na ng picture sa certificate. Okay? So medyo nagkikit sila doon. Para at least din, tawag dito. So hindi naman ni-required na pinaka-hard copy, no? Kasi yung sa akin naman nagagamit siya kahit Xerox copy lang. Okay? Gusto lang nila ma-ensure yung identity ng may-ari. Okay? So sa ngayon kasi sa industry natin, ang dami nagpapahiram ng mga certificate. Kumbaga pag binayaran ka isang contractor, and then pag nakuha nila yung certificate mo without any watermark for the project, yan pwede nilang gamitin yan sa ibang projects nila or ipahiram. So ayun, kapag meron na kayong ganito and hinihingi siya ni contractor, make sure lang na meron kayong dito, let's say mga validity date. So alam niyo kung kailan yung bidding, kung kailan yung project, estimated period ng project. So at least malalagyan niyo ng validity date. Kasi may iba after bidding, so hindi naman paparamdam, and then hindi niyo namamalayan na yung certificate na nagamit sa ibang projects. Then kapag nag-renew na kay DRS, kasi every 2 years yung certificate eh. So pag nag-renew, doon mo naman makikita na nag-exceed ka. Nag-exceed ka sa limits ng ME kasi meron tayong aggregate cost lang na pwedeng gamitan yearly tsaka number of projects. So kapag nag-exceed ka, pwede naman ipatrace kung sino yung mga contractors na gumamit. Then gawa ka ng legal actions, pwede mong singilin yung mga nag-violate and gumagamit ng certificate mo without permission. So pwede naman siya. Yung nga lang, medyo ma-hold yung yung renewal. So kaya sa inyo mga bagong magiging ME. So kahit saang documents naman natin, no? So make sure lang talaga na kahit lisensya lang natin eh. So make sure na meron tayong watermarks para maging safe yung natin, lisensya or certificates. Okay, so before kasi nangyari na sa akin to, no. So medyo na-hassle pa ako before. Kasi yung certificate ko, may gumamit ng isang engineer. Tapos lately ko lang nalaman na yung engineer na to, siya, I think may mga kaso na rin siya kasi pineke niya yung yung CE niya, sabi niya siya CE tsaka master plumber. Tapos siya, medyo sketchy yung identity ng engineer na yun kasi sinearch namin yung name niya online sa PRC. So di naman lumalabas. Eh ayun, tawag dito, kinonfirm din namin sa owner ng contractor. Yung owner, so check namin kung nag-work talaga sa kanila. Tapos ayun, nalaman namin na hindi naman siya full-time din. Parang part-time lang yun na maghanap ng mga ME or PE. Tapos kukuha ng certificate, ganyan. Then kapag nagbigay ka ng certificate na walang watermarks or validity, so gagamitin niya sa ibang projects. Tapos siya lang yung makikinabang doon. So parang nagiging middleman siya kunwari. Yan. So lesson learned na lang din sa akin yun. So nung nag-renew ako, at least naman siya na napalitan yung yung parang accreditation number ko para hindi na magamit sa mga ibang projects. And expired na rin naman yung before. So bago naman yung certificate ko ngayon. Okay? Ano lang naman yun, awareness lang din sa natin sa naging profession. So very demand din kasi ng ME kasi sobrang daming projects ng government. So madaming may kailangan ng ME. Okay? Tsaka isa pang tip din kapag certified na kayo. Ayan. Need mga companies kasi na for example na gagamitin sa company or sa contract na pinagtatrabuhan mo. Iba ang baba maningil. So may nag-chat din sa akin na student ka before. Tapos lang siya, binabayaran lang siya ng 2,000 para gamitin niya yung lisensya niya sa ME. So sabi ko, 2,000 lang niya, ganyan. Kasi pala siya, kumaga empleyado na siya sa company. So mag-add lang ng 2K per bidding. Wherein kapag freelance ka na ginagamit mo siya per project, so pwede ka makasingil lang around mga 10,000 per project per bidding. So, wala yung difference. So ayun, so make sure lang din na tayo hindi tayo nababat. Kasi as long as kasi may mga pumapayag, palit yung singilan. Ayun, so commercial lang yun. Moving on tayo sa next problem. Okay, number 67 tayo. So it determines the pile bearing capacity by loading one or more piles and measuring settlement under load. Okay, for this one, answer natin is letter B, pile load test. So for pile load test, it is the most common or most reliable method of determining the load carrying of a pile. So this test can be performed either on a working pile that forms the foundation of the structure or on a test pile. So pile loading test is one of the most common methods for testing the actual in situ load capacity of any pile. Okay? So for types naman ng pile load test, meron tayong static load test, merong dynamic load, and lateral load test for seismic loads. Okay? So okay tayo with number 67. Next, number 68. So it determines the soil bearing capacity by loading a steel plate, usually 30 inches in diameter. Okay, answer for this one is letter A, plate bearing test. So the plate bearing test or plate loading test is an in situ load bearing test of soil used for determining the ultimate bearing capacity of the ground and likely settlement under a given load. Okay tayo for number 68. Excuse lang guys, 1 minute CR break lang. Okay, 1 minute lang. Thank you. So version is letter B, blue smoke. Okay. And then for number 70, an equipment used in determination of soundness of Portland cement. So answer here is letter A, autoclave machine. So the main function of this machine, no? So again, it measures the aside from the soundness, yung expansion of cement samples after exposure natin to high temperatures and other pressures, indicating the potential soundness issues. Kaya part din siya ng ano natin, determination of soundness of Portland cement. Okay? Then sabi dito, the autoclave machine is suitable for conducting accelerated. So pwede siya for accelerated soundness test on cement or the autoclave expansion test. Okay, so the equipment consists of a stainless steel pressure vessel with insulated outer shell fabricated out of high quality stainless steel sheet. Okay, so for this machine naman, no, yung mga components na meron tayong ano dyan, mga pressure vessels. So yung heating system for the expansion test, pressure regulator, pressure gauge. Yung gauge niya I think nasa taas ata to, dito. And the yung pop valve niya for safety para makapag-release ng if ever na magkaroon ng malfunction. So i-release lang siya parang sa pressure cooker ganun, may binubunot. So yun yung mga naabutan kong machine before. Okay, so tapos ito pala ano siya, under siya ng ASTM C5 C151 pala. ASTM C151. Okay, so kung hanapin yung reference for this one, ASTM C151. Next, number 71. So in submitting samples for testing, so what particular form is being accomplished? Okay, so kailangan natin for testing is letter B, sample card. Sample card natin, example, ito. Yan. So that includes the name of the project, contract amount, date started and completion, duration, kind of materials, identification, quantity, sample taken at, source, supplier, owner. Then, ano pa ba important natin details dito? Name of the ME and lab tech. And so on. So lahat ng details dyan must be filled up and signed. Okay? Then may control number naman tayo dito, sample number card, sample card number. For audit trail na rin to. Okay, next number 72. So kind of paint had reflectance in the form of beads. So kind of paint had reflectance in the form of beads. Answer is letter A, reflectorized static paint. So wala lang akong explanation dito, but ito yung pinaka-answer natin, letter A. Yeah, so next number 73, the kind of water that must be used in laboratory tests, especially if it deals with chemicals. So answer is letter C, distilled water. So this is specific to distilled water, no? So hindi natin kina-consider yung pinaka-pH level niya. So basta specific lang to distilled water, yung hinahanap sa question. Next, number 74. So an instrument used for rapid insight measurement of the structural properties of existing road pavement. So rapid insight measurement. So mabilisan na pwedeng gamitin si dynamic cone penetrometer, letter B. So DCP or dynamic cone penetrometer is a tool used for evaluating the strength of soils on site. It also helps with monitoring the condition of granular layers and subgrade soils in pavement sections over time. So it can be used to determine the right solutions for the sites, especially when soft soils are involved. So here's a picture. So how it works. So meron tayong steel cone dito. So yung steel cone is driven into the ground, then using the drop hammer. So yung hawak ng lalaki dyan is the drop hammer. So pag binabagsak yan, so magkakaroon tayo ng measurement. So each hammer blow or pagbagsak ng hammer natin. So yung mga record na penetration dyan, tinatawag din siyang DCP penetration index. So from the word ng dynamic cone penetrometer, the DCP penetration index. Okay, so again, kanya i-measure yung soil strength natin, compaction, density, bearing strength, and so on. So lahat ng ano natin for the measurement of structural properties, no? Okay tayo with number 74. Next, number 75. So it determines the effect of water on the cohesion of mixture. So the effect of water. Answer here is letter A, immersion compression test. So since it determines daw the effect of water, sabi dito, this machine measures the loss of compressive strength caused by the action of water on compacted asphalt mixtures prepared with asphalt cements. So okay tayo dito. Next, number 76. So what are the tests needed for the 2,650 cubic meter of item 201 aggregate base course? Yeah, so compute lang tayo. Yeah, so this is for every 1,500 cubic meters or fraction thereof. So one quality test for grading, plasticity, and abrasion, and one laboratory compaction test. So to compute the number of tests for the quality, Q and C for compaction, answer is equals to 2,650 divided by 1,500. Answer is 1.767. So again, round up po tayo for the number of tests. Therefore, we have here two quality tests and two laboratory compaction tests. 2Q and 2C. Again, Q is for quality test, C is for laboratory compaction test. Okay, so again, ito mga actual choices din to before, no, sa mga exams. So please take note na lang ng kung paano or yung way ng ano natin ng mga multiple choices. Next number 77. So how many grading tests are required for a 3,200 cubic meter selected barrow topping under item 104? So for item 104 grading test, so this is for every 1,500 or fraction thereof. So number of grading tests for item 104 is equals to 3,200 divided by 1,500. So answer is 2.133. Again, round up tayo. Round up to 3. Therefore, we have 3 grading tests. Letter C. Next, number 78. So as the materials engineer of the project, what will you recommend if you find out that the materials to be used as item 200 or yung ano natin, aggregate sublease course, item 200, is finer than the required materials? Is finer than the required materials. Okay, so mag-reject ba tayo or blend item 200 with finer materials? So finer ng ano. So X is letter B. So for this item wala naman tayong restriction no? If we blend this with coarser materials. So kahit di tayo mag-reject yan. So pwede tayong mag-letter letter A. So blend item 200 with the coarser materials. Letter A. Okay? So agree naman tayo for letter A that i-blend natin yung item 200 or yung aggregate sublease course natin, item 200 with the coarser materials. Wala namang problema no, when it comes to its workability. So allowed naman yung adjustments in the mix. Okay? Next, number 79. If the group index of a soil is high, so what indication does it mean? Okay, answer natin is, di ba mas okay kapag ang group index natin is near 0? So pag mas mataas yung group index natin, so unsuitable if the group index of the soil is high. Okay, so again, the higher the GI, the less suitable the soil. So it falls to silty to clay materials, which means the general rating as subgrade is from fair to poor. Okay, also kapag magamit din tayo ng high group index, so mas mataas yung plasticity. And then another result ng paggamit ng high group index natin is for poor drainage, mababa yung bearing capacity, tapos mahirap pa siya i-compact kapag mas mataas yung GI. So therefore, ano siya, mas may potential for volume changes kapag ganun yung condition niya. Okay, so agree naman tayo, no? If higher the GI, unsuitable yung soil natin. If ever man sa formula ng GI, di ba may formula ang GI? So kapag negative naman yung nakuha nating value, so ang treatment natin doon for computation purposes, gagawin natin 0. Okay, kapag negative yung value ng GI. So 0 yung magiging sagot niya for computation. Pero if negative man siya, so ibig sabihin mas okay yung yung soil natin, mas suitable siya. So negative to 0 okay yan. Pero pag pataas ng pataas positively, so tsaka lang siya nagiging less suitable. Agree naman tayo. Okay? So number 80. So later din guys, no, after nung 100 items, so meron akong pinrepare din na other questions. So yung mga questions na to, galing lang din sa GC namin before no September. So yung mga bago lang na lumabas and then yung mga naalala nila. So yung iba naman kasi umulit lang. So nandun na sa pre-board natin tsaka sa refresher. So may ilan lang akong inad. Okay? So continue tayo number 80. Yeah, so as a materials engineer, how can you determine that the sample placed in the oven is already oven dried? So ano yung natin, palatandaan natin kapag oven dried na yung sample natin. So kung naka-base ba tayo sa duration after 30 minutes or after 1 hour? O antayin ba natin mag-overheat? So I think ano naman no, yung A, B, and C, hindi naman siya right basis para ma-determine natin yun. So as ME, dapat alam natin na kapag na-meet na niya yung constant weight, letter D. Okay? Constant weight dapat. Okay tayo dito. Next, number 81. So in oven drying a sample for test, what temperature shall be maintained? So ano sagot natin dito? Yan. So for this problem, answer natin is letter A, 110 plus minus 5 degrees Celsius. Okay? So pero for this one, nung minabasa rin kasi yung reference, no? Ang standard temperature for oven dried samples, ang sabi nun is typically 105 siya, 105 to 110. So ito medyo may lang sa range, no? And then nung umulit kasi ito before, ito pa rin yung same sets ng choices. So mas pasok lang yung letter A, mas malapit siya. Kung ang consideration is 105 to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay? Tapos yung mga recommended naman natin na temperature, example for organic soils, take note na lang, no? So at least 60 degrees Celsius, no, para hindi masunog for organic soils. And then kapag mga may gypsum, so for soils with gypsum around 80 degrees Celsius. Then yung kanina na-discuss natin, pag na-meet na yung constant weight, so ito naman yung basis natin, yung standard. So pag na-meet na yung constant weight, meaning lahat ng moisture natin has been removed kapag na-meet na yung constant weight. Okay? So again, 105 to 110 if ever na i-search nyo online. Pero sa mga past exams, ito yung lagi na malabas. Okay tayo dito. Next, number 82. So it is the moisture content of an air-dried sample. So moisture content of an air-dried sample. So this is letter A, hygroscopic moisture content. So this is also the amount of water, no? So in a material that absorbs moisture, so from the air, kaya rin siya air-dried, no? And ayun nga, air drying tayo and naka-express yung ano natin value, same with the normal moisture content. So it is expressed in percentage. No? Okay, next, number 83. So high plasticity index means blank of a soil. Means blank of a soil. So higher degree of plasticity, high degree of compressibility, high degree of durability, D, none of the above. So answer natin dito is letter B, high degree of compressibility. Yan. So sabi dito, the plasticity index or PI is related to the amount of clay in the soil and is a good indicator of compressibility. So the higher PI means greater compressibility of the soil. Okay, then another key points din natin for the high PI value is for the clay content. Okay, since high plasticity index is directly related, no, to the high clay content in the soil. Then ayun nga, second is yung compressibility natin and including the swelling potential, kasama rin siya. Next, number 84. So what is the significance of moisture content determination? So significance of moisture content determination, letter A, water is natural ingredient of soil. So letter B, to determine the drying capacity of the soil. Letter C, the behavior of a soil is markedly influenced by the amount of moisture it contains. Then D, none of the above. So for this one, answer natin, our best answer natin is letter C. So the behavior of a soil is markedly influenced by the amount of moisture it contains. Yan. Okay tayo with that. Next, number 85. Yan. So what is the significance of liquid limit? A, tension resistance, B, shearing resistance, C, frictional resistance, D, none of the above. So answer natin dito is letter B, shearing resistance. Since considering yung shear strength natin, no, so it gives an indication on how much stress the soil can withstand, okay, before it fails. Letter B, shearing resistance. Then aside from that, kasama din yung behavior ng soils natin and na-influence yung compaction and consolidation and settlement. What else pa ba? I think okay na yan. No? Next, number 86. Sorry. So number 86, what is the significance of determining the specific gravity of a soil? So significance natin based sa choices is letter A, gravimetric and volumetric relationship. So it is used in connection with gravimetric volumetric relationship in soils and various laboratory tests. Okay. So with this one, so it provides a fundamental property that allows us to calculate yung mga soil characteristics natin such as density, voids ratio, and degree of saturation and so on. So lahat ng kailangan natin for the soil computation. Okay. Next, number 87. What time na ba? So last problem tayo tapos break ulit tayo. Okay. So number 87, what is the significance of determining field density test? Significance of determining field density. A, soil as strength is dependent upon density. B, compaction. C, moisture content of soil. D, none of the above. Sorry. So significance of determining field density test, answer is letter A, soil as strength is dependent upon density. Okay, since yung density natin, no, directly affects the load bearing capacity for our foundation design and stability. So very important yung field density natin for this one. Okay. So okay lang, break ulit tayo ng 15 minutes. So continue tayo ng 4:30. Okay, so meron pa tayo remaining 13 questions and then yung mga additional questions natin later. Okay, so medyo madami-dami pa. Okay, so continue tayo 4:30. Thank you guys. Pag may question na mag-leave kayo ng question sa Q&A. Thank you. Hello class, continue tayo sa number 88. Okay, so number 88, tama naman 88. Yan, so what is the significance of the CBR or California bearing ratio? So the significance of this is letter C. This is for the bearing ratio of the soil. Letter C. So this is to determine the bearing ratio of soil when compacted and tested in the laboratory by comparing the penetration load of the soil to that of the standard materials, and then to determine the bearing capacity of the soil. Okay, next number 89. So what is the significance of organic impurities determination? A is the presence of injurious organic compounds. B, presence of compounds. C, the purpose of the test is to furnish a warning that further tests of the sand are not necessary before they are approved for use. D, none of the above. So kapag organic impurities, this is letter A, presence of injurious organic compounds. Okay, so the test determines the presence of injurious organic compounds in natural sands which are to be used in cement, mortar, or concrete. So the purpose of the test is to furnish a warning that the further tests of the sand are necessary before they are approved for the use. Okay. Then kung mapapansin niyo, baka akala niyo letter C siya, no? Kasi letter C natin are not necessary. Ito are necessary. Okay? The purpose of this test is to furnish a warning that further tests of the sand are necessary. Yung letter C is not necessary. Okay? So medyo tricky sa side na yun. So baka ma-miss out lang yung word. Okay, balikan natin. Ayan. C is not necessary. Okay, next number 90. So what will be your sampling procedure in sampling of a sample in a stockpile? Okay, so for this one, we should get from top, middle, and bottom. Okay, this is our standard procedure for getting samples in a stockpile from top, middle, and bottom. Next, number 91. If coarse aggregate like embankment is to be placed in layers, how many layers should a 40 centimeters thick aggregate base course is placed? Okay, wherein yung required thickness natin is 200 mm or less, the material may be spread and compacted in one layer. So with that, number of layers is equals to 400 mm from centimeters divided by 200. Therefore, number of layers is equals to 2 layers. Okay, 2 layers. Letter B. Next. So heavy rains occur the night before prior to your scheduled field density test. So are you going to pursue your schedule and why? Okay, so pag malakas ang ulan, so doon tayo kay letter B. So kay letter E pala, letter A. So di dapat magkaroon ng di natin ituloy yung schedule for this case. Okay, ang reason, so the moisture content is high and can affect the result of the test. Okay, so may mga questions din sa exam na ano lang siya. Dati may true or false eh. Then meron ding dalawa lang choices, kagaya nito. Ayan, so depende naman siya. So hindi naman siya strictly A, B, C, D. Okay, so minsan nga ano yun, pwede nilang ipa-manual yung checking. Okay. Nung time namin nag-manual kasi ang daming erroneous. So sa daming erroneous din doon, ayun, anong nangyari? Lagyan na lang daw namin ng X yung yung sa answer sheet. Then lagay yung tamang answer kanya. Lalagyan pinapasulat na lang. So ganyan nangyari sa amin. Then nag-manual checking. Okay? So yung mga last year tsaka yung 2 years ago, I think meron na silang automated na siya. Okay? So depende rin kung erroneous na rin. So paano nangyari yun? Manual checking. Okay? Next, number 93. Yeah, so before concrete paving, the base of a roadway should be kept in moist condition and saturated with water for at least how many hours? So a total of 2 hours, letter C. Okay, so before concrete paving, the base of the roadway should be kept in moist condition and saturated with water for at least 2 hours. So from item 207.3.4, the compaction and finishing shall be completed within 2 hours of the time water is added to the mixture. Okay. Next, number 94. The improper compaction of an embankment material will blank except. So ang pinapoint out dito is improper compaction of embankment material will blank except. So A, minimize compressibility. B, decrease soil permeability. C, increase shear strength and soil stability. D, decrease void spaces. So answer natin dito, I think ito letter D, no? Kasi decrease void spaces. So matatanggal man natin yan kapag proper compaction ginawa natin. But then improper yung tinutukoy. Okay, letter D, decrease void spaces. Okay, so important properties of soil as foundation is that the strength must be increased. So compressibility is reduced and permeability must also be reduced. So this can be done by compaction. Again, improper compaction yung highlight natin dito, no? So that is why compaction of an embankment material will minimize future settlement. Compressibility, improper or not. Okay, improper or not, kaya natin ma-minimize yan. The next, improper or not, it will decrease soil permeability. And then improper or not, this increases the shear strength and soil stability. Okay, thus improper compaction will result to all mentioned except decrease in voids. Okay, kasi nga, yung voids natin can be decreased when proper compaction is conducted. So letter D yung sagot natin for this number. Okay, so next, number 95. The following tests can be performed on disturbed samples from soil exploration except. So si grading test, ginagawa to for undisturbed. Itong letter B for undisturbed. So letter C for disturbed samples. Then itong letter D for undisturbed samples. So therefore, letter C tayo. Consolidation test. Okay? Yan. So the following tests can be performed on disturbed samples from soil exploration such as grading test, unit weight and quantity of organic matter, and liquid and plastic limit. So because these tests require more movements of the soil of the sample, while consolidation test requires undisturbed sample. Okay, undisturbed sample that will be subjected to pedometer test to determine their compression index. Okay tayo dyan. Next, number 96. So itong item na to, ilang beses tayo lumabas to. So parang magkakasunod na tatlo. Last year, September, then March last year, then September 2023. Okay, parang tatlong beses na nga. Okay, so the fine grain soils in the field can be identified through the use of simple visual and manual tests except. So this is under ASTM D2488, yung standard practice for description and identification of soils using visual manual approach. Okay, so ano yung pwede nating magamitan yan? A, water mobility, B, dry strength, C, plasticity, D, dry weight. Okay, so may ibang reviewers na ang sagot is dry strength, no? So mali yun. So ang exception dito is yung letter D, dry weight. Okay, so if you check yung reference using ASTM D2488, so ito yung mga tables natin for the reference of each item. Okay, so for water mobility, under table 9, criteria for describing the dilated sea. Okay, description, meron tayong none, slow, and rapid, and meron tayong mga individual criteria. For none, no visible changes in the specimen. Next, slow, water appears slowly on the surface of the specimen during shaking and does not appear or disappear slowly upon squeezing. Then for rapid, water appears quickly on the surface of the specimen during shaking and disappears quickly upon squeezing. Okay, then yung dry strength naman natin, so under table 10, criteria for describing toughness. So dito siya nakarelate. Okay, so for low, medium, and high, meron tayong mga individual criteria. Okay, and then yung plasticity natin, under table 11, criteria for describing plasticity. Okay, descriptions natin is non-plastic, low, medium, and high. Then meron din tayong individual criteria. So pakibasa na lang, no? Okay. Pero itong question na to, ulit-ulit siya, 3 times na. Kaya yung iba, last time, tinatanong nila bakit dry strength yung sagot sa ibang reviewers. So upon checking din sa mga reference, no, ang wala lang dyan is yung dry weight. Okay? Hindi lang directly kasi minention yung dry strength dito, no? Describing toughness siya. But if you read the criteria naman, no, so papasok siya kay dry strength. Okay, so again, answer natin dito is dry weight, letter D. Okay, number 97. So what should be done on the sub-base course with existing moisture content of 10% higher than the optimum moisture of the AASHTO T180 method D? Okay, so letter A, spread the required loose thickness and compact. B, add water, spread the loose thickness and compact. C, dry out to reduce moisture, spread to the required loose thickness and compact. So higher na siya, no? So hindi na pwede si letter B kasi nag-add ka pa ng water. Higher na siya, tapos nag-spread ka pa, so hindi na sa letter A. And letter D, spread out pa rin to spread to the required loose thickness. So X, C, A, B, and D. So ito kasi si C to dry out to reduce moisture. So letter C tayo. Dry out to reduce moisture, spread to the required loose thickness and compact. Okay? So take note of the statement dito, no? 10% higher than the optimum moisture content. Okay, so kailangan i-dry out. Then item 200.3.3 states that the moisture content of sub-base material shall, if necessary, be adjusted prior to compaction by watering with approved sprinklers mounted on trucks or by drying out as required in order to obtain the required compaction. So as a materials engineer, the best possible solution is to dry out to reduce moisture, spread to the required loose thickness and compact. So itong statement na to, nasa blue box din naman siya. Okay? So the working compaction shall have a range of plus minus 2% in moisture content or 5% for the important works or special works. Okay? Okay tayo dito, letter C. Dry out to reduce moisture, spread to the required loose thickness and compact. Next, number 98, the shape of compaction curve in a laboratory compaction test of soil is blank. So compaction curve is parabolic, letter A. So I think common naman sa atin lahat to, yung parabolic sa compaction curve. And then number 99, peat and muck are considered as, so na-discuss natin kanina, no? Letter B, highly organic soil. So discuss lang din natin ulit yung mas detailed. Okay, so peat and muck is considered highly organic soil. So there are 2 types of embankments stated in item 104.2. So material requirements are for suitable and unsuitable materials. So para malaman natin kung ano ba yung mga suitable and unsuitable materials. Okay, for suitable materials, these are materials which is acceptable in accordance with the conduct. It's acceptable and which can be compacted in the manner specified in this item. So it can be a common material or rock. While the materials other than the suitable materials such as letter A, materials containing detrimental quantities of organic materials such as grass, roots, and sewage. B, organic soils. So which is being highly organic na tayo sa peat and muck. Letter C, soils with liquid limit exceeding 80 or PI exceeding 55. Then letter D, soils with natural water content exceeding 100%. Okay. Then next, soils with very low natural density, so 800 kilograms per cubic meters or lower. Then last is soils that cannot be properly compacted as determined by the engineer. Okay. Next, so ito lumabas din last September. Problem 100. So the aggregate component contributes internal friction to shear strength and stability of bituminous mixture. The desirable shape and surface texture of aggregate particles are. So answer natin dito is angular and rough textured particles, letter D. Okay, so generally angular aggregate particles have rough texture, and round aggregate particles are smooth texture. So these properties, along with the water or cementitious materials, ratio determine the strength, workability, and durability of concrete. So the grading or size distribution of aggregate is an important characteristics because it determines the base requirement for workable concrete. Okay? Again, the aggregate component contributes internal friction, which is required dito sa ano natin, sa mixture to shear strength and stability of the bituminous mixture. Okay, so okay tayo with your quiz. So meron nga may mga naka 98, konti na lang, perfect na. So ano lang, open naman yung quiz natin, no, hanggang examination day nyo, at least marami kayong pang-practice. Okay? And then meron pa akong other questions dito, no? So discuss na rin natin. If ever na medyo maaga tayo matapos ngayon, so yung refresher 2 nyo, same setup din. Then si Sir Noel naman mag-discuss ng refresher 2. And then yung refresher 3 naman, hati kami sa oras si Sir Noel, big kami, 2.5. So if ever na maaga tayo matapos, so mag-add na lang ako doon sa refresher 3 natin. Okay? Para ma-maximize natin yung time. Okay? So for now, ayan, discuss tayo ng mga inad kong questions, no? So galing sa group chat namin before no September review. Though majority naman ang diniscuss natin and yung pre-board, again, galing siya sa mga past exams. Yung last year, 2 years ago, yan, mga from 2019 onwards, yan. So naka-compile naman siya. Okay? So additional problems, first is ito. Yung mga actual choices, no, hindi ko na nalagay kasi iba, nalagay na nila yung mga keywords din, ano yung tamang sagot. Yan. Yan yung una, the concrete mixtures were not yet discharged for 1 hour and 45 minutes. So as a materials engineer, what are you going to do? So di ba ang requirement natin is 90 minutes lang dapat siya. Okay? Therefore, yung best answer sa choices is discard the mix. And again, according to ASTM C94, the standard time to discharge a concrete mixture is within 1.5 hours or 90 minutes. So from the moment the mixing water is added to the cement and aggregates. Okay, tayo doon. Next. So if a sample splitter is not available or used in reducing samples for testing, as a materials engineer, what is the alternative way for reducing sample for testing size for coarse aggregates? Okay, so meron tayong first method, yung mechanical splitter. So in absence of that, gawin natin yung manual. So yung manual natin is using quartering method. So apply quartering method and get the two opposite sides as samples hanggat sa limit yung sample size natin until ma-meet yung pinaka-required. Okay? So na-discuss naman natin siya before sa lecture natin. Okay? Quartering method. So what else? Next tayo. So what is the proper way of transporting core or concrete samples to the laboratory for testing? So samples are included with sawdust and rice straw or even sand, the list. Okay, next, in trial batch, a sample was taken for extraction test. However, the bitumen content failed to comply with the specifications. As a materials engineer, what should be your recommendation? So for this one, nasa standard din natin na kailangan ma-meet natin yung requirement. So kung nag-fail siya to comply with the specification, so reject natin yung test na yan. Okay? So yung best answer sa choices daw is redesign and conduct a trial. Okay? Next slide. So there is a certain project that is impractical for testing. So impractical for testing the pipe itself since the place is secluded. So what testing are you going to require for the pipe instead? So best answer sa choices is concrete cylinder samples. Next, as a materials engineer, what do you think is or are the significance of quantitative extraction of bitumen from bituminous paving mixtures? So answer there is to determine the asphalt content and to determine the aggregation of aggregates. So significance of quantitative extraction of bitumen. Again, to determine the asphalt content and the gradation of aggregates. Next slide. So what is the closest reason why failed samples do not necessarily mean that the structure it represents is defective? So best answer choices is sampling is incorrect. Okay, next, during spreading and compacting of aggregate base cores, so only 85% of the density was attained after compaction. So what are you going to do? Yeah. So 85% lang. So to increase that, so use best answer sa choices, nakalagay doon, use vibratory roller with higher compactive effort. Okay? So itong mga choices naman, agreed naman siya ng lahat ng mga reviewers before. So kumbaga, hindi na kasi sinabi yung ibang choices so lahat sila agree dito. So if ever may counter nyo yung question, ulit, analyze nyo yung ibang choices kasi baka mamaya magkaroon ng bagong best answer. So para sa kanila kasi ito yung best answer na naalala nila or sinagot nila. Okay? And then, so as materials engineer of the contractors handling DPWH projects, are you allowed to perform testing on the LGU testing laboratories? Answer is no. Okay? Dapat doon lang sa mga accredited DPWH laboratories tayo pwede mag-test. So hindi pwede sa mga LGU base. Okay? So meron available online, no? So check nyo lang sa website. So nandun yung list ng accredited ng mga testing laboratories of DPWH. Okay, so next, as a materials engineer, where can you obtain a permit for the procurement of chemicals to be used for the laboratory testing such as sodium hexametaphosphate? Yeah. So if chemicals naman or toxic chemicals, so kay PIDEA tayo lalapit. Okay, kay PIDEA. So next, so during testing, it was found that out of 3 PCCP concrete specimen, 1 failed by more than 25% of the specified FRMC. As a materials engineer of the contractor side, what are you going to do? So more than 27% na siya, no? So therefore, yung set failed and conduct coring. Okay, to include that the set failed and conduct coring. So meron naman tayong criteria nyo, no, na discuss. So balikan nyo na lang din. Okay. Next, as a materials engineer, how can you improve the properties of soil by not spending too much? So generally, sa choices, so best answer is doing stabilization on the soil. Next, so since Philippines is a tropical country, what penetration grade or hard asphalt will you use? So answer is low penetration. So tropical country tayo, kaya low penetration ang gagamitin natin. Okay, next, during asphaltic work, what will you do when you find out that the bituminous mixture delivered at the project site is